Adventure Time is not only one of Cartoon Network's most successful TV shows ever, but it's one of the most recognizable cartoons of all time, receiving universal acclaim from critics and even being estimated to be worth around $2.5 billion. People really like this show. So then what's the deal with the title? Do people hate it now? There seems to be a common trend with shows nowadays where they air for like 5 seasons too long and everyone starts making fun of them. You see it with The Simpsons, you see it with SpongeBob, the list goes on. And since Adventure Time first aired over 10 years ago now and has almost 300 episodes total, I'm here to ask one simple question. Does Adventure Time have any truly bad episodes? I know the show aired its final episode back in 2018, but it's still super popular, releasing a new spin-off in the franchise just last year. So this is still relevant, I promise. Just watch the video, you'll see. It gets pretty cursed at one point. So today, I'll be watching Adventure Time's 2 lowest rated episodes ever in depth while explaining everything that's going on. Are the worst Adventure Time episodes not even that bad? Or are they the media equivalent of the devil himself forcing you to down an entire bottle of Heinz Relish? Well, grab your copy of Super Mario Bros. 3 for the Game Boy Advance to find out. I don't have a cam for this video, so just, I don't know, it'll be on the screen as like a JPEG or something. Because it's time to dive into what some people call a broken effort, the episode that ruined Adventure Time. This first episode is called Dream of Love. This is the second lowest rated Adventure Time episode of all time, so we're in for a wild ride. The episode begins with Finn and Jake rolling down a hill and just having a fun time. This makes me want to be a kid again. Being an adult brings nothing but despair. They mention that there's a special movie viewing at a drive-in later that night. Hopefully they're watching Pitch Perfect. That movie rocks. Before that though, Finn and Jake have to visit their friend Tree Trunks for some homemade apple pie. Wasting no time, we cut straight to it, and turns out a character named Mr. Pig is also there.
Cool.
Why? How long is the scene? Why did they do that for so long? That's so weird. So everyone's hungry for some apple pie, but turns out that Tree Trunks hasn't even started making it yet. This reminds me of Silk Song. Will that game ever come out? Who knows? Before she can make the pie, Mr. Pig admits to Tree Trunks that he loves her with all of his heart, and that when he's around her, his heart beats like a choo-choo train. It's very cute. Turns out the feeling is mutual, so the two hug it out while Finn and Jake just stare, like a couple of toddlers watching a Roblox Let's Play or something. Real quick before we continue, a little more info about these characters. Tree Trunks is a tiny yellow elephant. She kind of reminds me of the Minions because my brain is cooked. She's from the south and is super calm all the time. Mr. Pig is, well, a pig, obviously. He's about the same size as Tree Trunks and also just kind of a calm guy from what I can tell so far. I'll be honest, these characters don't seem that interesting to me in this episode, especially when they're right next to Finn and Jake, who are constantly having manic episodes.
Wait, here it comes.
Tree Trunks is apparently in her late 40s, and although Mr. Pig's age isn't exactly confirmed anywhere, pigs only live till about like 20 years old, so do with that information as you wish. Anyway, our boys Finn and Jake are now at Princess Bubblegum's science music concert thing. Not really sure what's going on here. Princess Bubblegum is covering some Skrillex songs and everyone's having a good time. After a while, Tree Trunks and Mr. Pig show up and Jake gets all hyped because he thinks she brought some apple pie with her. But turns out she didn't bring the apple pie because she was just really busy doing other things. This is the exact excuse I use when I don't want to go to a social gathering, by the way.
Brian?
Yeah?
Do you want to go to the dance with me?
No.
Turns out the thing Tree Trunks has been doing is just straight up making out with Mr. Pig. Isn't that kind of weird?
No apple pie!
Aren't Finn and Jake like 13 years old or something? Everyone else at this concert is getting pretty uncomfortable by what's going on. Even Princess Bubblegum gets distracted enough to stop the music because she's so grossed out. And listen, I know nothing has been super out of pocket yet, to be honest, but having some PDA in your kid's cartoon is a little weird. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Finn splits them up so the music can continue, but then, I'm not kidding, Tree Trunks just straight up starts twerking. Or is trying to, I think. The two start hopping backwards until eventually they start tapping each other's butts together. Again, it's a little weird, and this one dude in the stands has a panic attack over it. This forces the concert to completely shut down, which obviously leaves Tree Trunks and Mr. Pig to blame. This is when Finn lets the couple know that they're being too affectionate in public, which is making people feel really uncomfortable. It's kind of like when you're in the strip club in GTA, and as soon as you go in the back with a stripper, your mom enters your room.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I was downloading this thing and I got a computer virus. I deleted the virus!
So because of this, Tree Trunks and Mr. Pig promise to hide their affection from now on. We get a couple moments where they make out in secret places and get caught almost immediately. Honestly, this makes almost zero sense. Tree Trunks has a house that was shown like 5 minutes ago. Just go kiss in there. I don't know why this is so difficult. Seriously, they even get caught in Finn's sandwich at one point. Like, surely there was a better spot than this in an actual sandwich Finn just made.
Come on!
We're trying to hide
You guys are not trying very hard. Like, just go home. I don't understand. Anyway, a little later, and it's nighttime now. Everyone's at the drive-in to watch the movie they mentioned at the beginning.
Look at this cup! Now, look at this cup.
Wait, this might actually be Pitch Perfect. Holy shit. The movie they're watching doesn't last long, however, because of course Tree Trunks and Mr. Pig end up kissing in front of the projector for some reason, so everyone can see their silhouettes. Finn finally asks the two why they don't just go home to make out. Tree Trunks gives a lame excuse and explains that
an unmarried couple living together under one roof, that's indecent.
Which, like, one, you don't have to be living together to, like, just go there, you know, for 10 minutes to kiss or whatever. And two, like, yep, being together in the same house is weird, but excessively kissing in front of children is definitely a lot better. You're right, dude, for sure. Anyway, Finn and Jake literally tear these two apart from each other, since I guess it's the only way to make them stop kissing in public. Tree Trunks and Mr. Pig are obviously really sad by this, but pretty much everyone else is cheering, which I found kind of funny, honestly.
Stop!
Take him away! Lock him up! So it's a little later now, and the two lovebirds are really sad. So sad, in fact, that they break out into song about how much they love each other or something. I forget. I don't know. I'm not rewatching it. The song lasts like 2.5 minutes almost, which makes Finn and Jake feel guilty about separating them in the first place. Because of this, it's decided that the two should be allowed to see each other again, so they immediately sprint towards each other and share many, many kisses. It's all very sweet and kind of pointless. Everyone is still grossed out, however, except for Jake, who decides to finally share a kiss of his own. He's gonna kiss the pie, isn't he? He's gonna kiss it. Yep. Nice. Very in character. And that was the second lowest rated Adventure Time episode of all time. Was it that bad? Well, despite being kind of boring and not really all that funny by Adventure Time standards, it's alright, I guess. I understand why public displays of affection can make some people feel kind of uncomfortable, so to make that awkwardness the entire premise of your cartoon is honestly a little weird and deserves to be criticized, I think. But even with the weirdness that is Dream of Love, there's still one more episode that's apparently so much worse that people just straight up skip it when it comes on. So I guess it's finally time to dive into Adventure Time's lowest rated episode of all time. This episode is called Water Park Prank. This episode starts with Finn and Jake heading to the water park.
What the hell is even that?
Oh, that? Yeah, that's the animation for this entire episode. Don't worry about it. Reason number one for people hating this episode, the animation style is completely different than normal. Honestly, I don't think it's that bad, but it does turn a lot of people off immediately because it's not what they're used to, and I don't blame them for that. If you can't stand the look of this thing and decide to exit the video now, thank you for your service, soldier. Please leave a like on your way out. So yeah, everything looks weird in this episode. Try to ignore it for now, you'll get used to it. Anyway, I guess Finn forgot to bring a change of clothes for the water park, so he has to split up from Jake. This is when he bumps into Princess Bubblegum, who's also going to the water park, I guess. I think this is like amazing RNG for Finn, since I'm pretty sure he's got a massive crush on the princess at this point. Correct me if I'm wrong. So they're walking together now, and eventually the two run into someone called Princess Orangutan. She's just bawling her eyes out, crying nonstop. She probably watched the opening scene from the movie Up. That gets me every time. No, actually, the reason she's crying is because she stepped in a very specific puddle. I'm gonna try to explain what's going on here because it's kind of weird. Basically, in this puddle are these things called daddy sad heads. These things latch onto people that get near them, and once latched on, they make that person very, very sad. So sad, in fact, that apparently it's really hard to get rid of these things because you're crying so much you're not even thinking about shaking them off your leg or whatever. You're just too busy crying or something like that is the explanation. Their premise isn't too bad and could honestly work if it's done right, but they're just kind of absurdly random and just visually unappealing to look at, if I'm being honest. They kind of look like, well, I mean, you know what they look like.
You're covered in daddy sad heads.
Jeez, what are those things? I want to pop them with my foot. So because Finn is a goofy cartoon character that does goofy cartoon things, he also walks right into the puddle and gets latched onto, which of course makes him very sad. Now he can't shake them off because he's crying too much. That's their whole point.
I don't want to shake them. What if I hurt them?
But even then, despite the one rule these cursed things have in this episode, Princess Bubblegum does somehow get Finn happy enough to be able to shake them off. So like, I don't know, what's the point of these things? Like they just don't work, I guess, even though they're supposed to. I get the feeling this entire scene was some sort of metaphor about depression or something. It's pushing a message about how you should look on the bright side of things, maybe, is what I'm getting from it. But it could also be not that and just be about random floating ballsack heads. So now Finn and Princess Orangutan are saved from these things, and as a reward for saving her, Finn is given a magical coin that can turn into any amount of currency ever. I'm not sure why Finn gets the reward for some reason, but whatever. Now this is when everyone is finally at the water park. Remember, this episode was about a water park prank or something. Finn meets up with Jake and they change into their bathing suits. They both blush a little when they see each other shirtless, which is weird considering Jake is naked all the time, usually. There's also this quick scene where Finn is about to use the magical coin he was given to pay for the locker in the changing room. Remember, this coin can change into like any amount of currency at all, but he's using it like as a quarter, which is the joke, I guess. But even when he tries to use it, he drops it down a drain, and I guess guess technically loses billions of dollars in less than a couple seconds. This is a good reference to Dogecoin, the cryptocurrency Elon scammed people with. Anyway, the boys are waiting in line to go down this huge water slide, which is when they run into the Ice King. This is my favorite Adventure Time character probably ever. And I hate that he's in this episode. Finn and Jake decide they're gonna prank the Ice King by making him look stupid in front of the lifeguard. Basically, Jake went up the water slide from the bottom so that when Finn went down the normal way, they could meet up in the middle. This is when Finn instructs Jake to inflate himself to basically block the entire slide. He's got a concussion. It's over. Episode's done. Finn goes down the whole slide, and it's the Ice King's turn to go down next. But when he does, he just bounces back to the top. The idea is that Jake inflated himself, so the Ice King just bounces off of him and never gets to go down the slide ever, I guess. And because the Ice King is a big baby, he closes his eyes while he's going down the slide, so he just has no idea what's even happening. Finn comes all the way back up, and when it's his turn to go down the slide again, Jake just gets out of the way, so they're just like straight up gaslighting everyone. For some reason, the lifeguard thinks this is straight up the Ice King's fault, as if he's got expert cod movement and can move around without losing any momentum.
On top, on roof, on roof. KO got him. KO got him.
No, he stemmed it. God damn it!
So eventually the boys are actually done with the prank, but the Ice King gets super angry anyway and threatens to freeze everyone. Before he can do that though, I guess he just gets kicked out of the water park. How unfortunate.
Come in. Yeah, there's an old guy lost the plot at the top of the slide.
Oi bruv, whoa, innit? So now we have Finn, Jake, and Princess Bubblegum all finished with their date at the water park, which is when Finn wants to rinse himself in a nearby puddle. But of course, this is a callback to earlier in the episode because the puddle he entered is actually covered in a bunch of daddy sad heads again. This is so sad, I'm gonna cry. And that was the worst rated Adventure Time episode of all time. Between the weird animation change, the uneasy premise of the daddy sad heads, and the third reason for people hating this episode, the bad writing, it's no wonder this episode isn't exactly praised by its audience. I've only ever watched a couple seasons of Adventure Time myself, and this is probably the episode I enjoyed the least, if I'm being honest. This show rocks most of the time, so of course I wouldn't say this episode was the absolute worst thing I've ever witnessed in my life. But I will say, for some people, it might be the episode that ruined Adventure Time. If you're someone who usually enjoys this show, you might actually hate what you watched here. And that's okay. It's just kind of, you know, a bad episode. All in all, skip this one if you can, watch the other ones if you have the time. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Remember to like the video and become a member if you can afford it. It starts at only $1 and it helps support the channel a bit so I can focus on making more videos like this in the future. Thank you to all my current members. You guys are the best. I'll be making some random movie review videos soon as exclusive content for you guys, probably. Paul Abdul scores this one a solid 3 daddy sad heads out of 5. And yeah, thanks for watching.
Where do you live?
I'm homeless.
Buy a house.